Good morning. I hope you're doing well. I'm actually feeling a little sick. I was at Nashville for the Baptist Press Journalism Conference for the universities this weekend. I took the journalism students there. We won 11 awards, so it was a good weekend, but I came back feeling a little under the weather, so please bear with me. There's three main things I want to discuss with you today. First one would be issues management. Second one would be branding projects. And finally, just touching base on worldview and campaigns. Okay, first off, crisis management. I've posted some interesting literature for you to review. One is a PowerPoint that was done by Karen Berg, who is a director of communication here at CBU, and also a letter that's separate from the PowerPoint, which is an example. It's actually a real letter that was sent by the president of the university when we faced the issue of the GLBT Soul Force coming to CBU back a few years ago. And I also have other information there about issues management. And the chapter touches on crisis and issue as well. So let me explain this situation that took place to give you some background because I was here that year. The university received communication from the GLBT that they were targeting Christian schools to come to visit. Their purpose was to talk about the issues that were important to them and hopefully have some students come out who would say that they did have discrimination against them for their sexual orientation. So they were coming to Azusa Pacific University, Biola, and several others here in Southern California, and we were on the list. So what our marketing and communication division did, you'll see it all laid out in the PowerPoint, they prepared by going to visit other universities. There were some in the South, Oral Roberts, Oklahoma Baptist, and they went there to see how this situation was handled on campuses and to decide on their best approach. After doing that, they decided to invite the GLBT on campus, not exclude them from stepping foot on campus, but invite them on into the game room, which was set up with a table and pizza and drinks so that they could communicate with student leaders and participate that way. So communication went back and forth between our top marketing communication director, or actually vice president of marketing communication, and Jake Rattan, who he's mentioned in the PowerPoint that you'll review. When they did come, they came on campus. They did go to that designated area. There was a surprise because certain advocates in the community came out to support the gay, lesbian, bisexual and transgender individuals, and they came out. That we weren't expecting that. The campus was covered that day with many off-duty or I guess undercover police officers, as well as our own public safety and many administrators out on campus. When they came in, they peaceably met and spoke with student leaders, and our student leaders were very, very well behaved and receptive and warm and just explained, maybe there was a difference in worldview, but that they had respect for these people. So then the challenge was when the group decided to go out on campus, because this is what administration was trying to avoid. They didn't want this group going out and disrupting classes that were in session, learning that was taking place, and also going into the living spaces that are private residences of the students here. So that was a concern. They started to go out on campus. They started playing guitars in the courtyard and just talking among students. But the Lord intervened. It began to rain that day, and they went right back into the room, the game room. So that was pretty beautiful because it was like we didn't have to deal with trying to confine them or ask them to please go back because the rain sort of came into play and took care of that for us. So the upside of it was an issue. I wouldn't say it was a crisis. It was more of an issue, but there was great planning, research involved in how this would be handled, observation of other schools. The president actually spoke to faculty and told us that if we were to talk to media, we would be considered a representative of CBU and that it might not be a good idea to do that because there were designated representatives. He spoke to student leadership. So there was a lot of strategic planning behind this. And the end result was we were mentioned very favorably in the the LA Times. I get the New York Times and love that paper, but no, the LA Times. They said that it was a peaceful meeting and things went very well. And then in future years since that year, which was 05, 06 academic year, the GLBT has not come back here. I think that since it was nothing earth-shattering that happened and that it was a peaceful meeting, they just didn't target us in the future. So that was an issue that came up for a Christian university. That's a good example, and I have actual documents posted for you to see that. Your assignment is to post the beginning of a paragraph to address an issue, that a potential issue, fictitious of course, for your nonprofit business that you've been working with, either nonprofit or business or whatever, what the entity you've been working with for your brochure and flyer. So you're going to begin a letter in this discussion board. In ours, it began fellow Lancers. Yours could be, customers or dear customers or dear community or for those interested in this situation. You're just going to address them, begin a paragraph explaining the issue at hand. This is just to give you an idea of what it would be like to actually write that letter. And then you please read each other's, and the instructions are there about how to handle that assignment. So they're posted for this week. The other thing you're working on is your final project, which is the branding project. And the branding project is due next week, but I know you may want to get to it this week, because what we have going this week is crisis communication, reading and going through the final PowerPoint that are posted for this week, and that actually kind of finishes the text out, and then starting to work on your branding project. I have posted just a few minutes ago a SlideShare site where we're going to post our branding projects. Because we've had so much trouble loading big documents, I want you to do this assignment in PowerPoint. It's 6 to 8 slides telling us about yourself. And you will know how far along you are in your journey and what you want to post there. I've posted today on SlideShare and put a link up. A branding project by an undergraduate student who was kind of just at that point of senior in undergrad school, thinking about her future, where she might want to go. She focused on her family, her faith, and interests, sports, and things. It can be that, or if you're further along in your career and you have a better idea of maybe your professional image, it can be that as well. So it's 6 to 8 slides that maybe show something personal about you, something about your goals and dreams, maybe about your faith. Really, there's not like a set content requirement as long as it reveals you and who you are and what you dream and aspire to do. Just the beginning thoughts of that. Brands happen as we grow and change. And when you're in classes, taking classes, you are in that process. And so I don't expect this to be your final project of a branding, your personal brand, but more a beginning. And we're all at different points of that. So I will review them. And if there's anyone who maybe needs a little coaching, I'll do that too and give you time to revise as needed. But honestly, most of them have been done and been just fine. As long as they're 6 to 8 slides, maybe include a few pictures or a graphic element or two, clip art or whatever it might be to show who you are. I mean, what are your dreams? What are your thoughts? What's important to you? 6 to 8 slides. You're going to post it up on this link that I have given today for you to look at. This isn't due until next week, our last week, but I'm giving you a little extra time to work on it. You'll post it there, and then I'll place a discussion board where you can put the link so that people can easily find it. But all of ours will be there. There's one there as an example today. So you're doing that. As you read on campaigns and worldview, just take a good look at that information, because everything done in PR is usually a campaign, and that takes great planning, research, discussion, communication, evaluation, and worldview comes into it because we're a diverse society and the world has become very small now that we can all reach one another online. And so just take a good look at that. Next week will be my last my last YouTube for you, and I really look forward to seeing your branding projects. If you need any clarification on those, please let me know. Send me an email. I'll be happy to talk to you about it. God bless.